You said that it can be over at any time, essentially whenever we want. But it doesn't seem like I am lying to myself that I do want to continue. It does seem like I want it over now. I want it to be over. So what exactly am I missing?
Okay, when we say I want it to be over, the question that I would ask for clarification. What is it that you want to be over?
I feel like me, like I am this person.
Okay. So, you want to be over the feeling that you are this person. When I speak, who is hearing my words? It's you, right?
Yes.
Okay. The one who is hearing my words and the one who feels to be that person is the same. Would you agree with that?
Yes.
There are not two eyes. There is not one eye who feels to be that person and one eye who is hearing my words. So, this eye perceives two things. This eye perceives my words and perceives also the feeling to be that person. Right? Both come and go. So in this moment, you hear my words. In this moment, do you feel the feeling of being that person? Without going into the past or into the future.
No, I'm aware of sensations, like sitting down.
Okay, you feel sensations just as you perceive my words, right? Do the sensations you feel give you information about you who are the perceiver of this sensation?
No.
No, right? Do my words give you any information about you, the perceiver of these words? No, right? So, if these perceptions that you call the feeling of being that person, which is your body, if these perceptions don't give you any information about you, how do you know that you are that person?
I guess it's been a habit.
Because you are hearing my words, right? You don't say, I am these words. You say, I am the perceiver of these words. Similarly, you perceive the feeling. Why do you say, I am the feeling? You see? You are the perceiver. The perceiver of the feeling is not limited by the feeling. All feelings are limited, all perceptions are limited. But the perception of limited things doesn't imply that the perceiver of limited things is limited. So then, the question that arises is, what is the evidence that this perceiver is limited? Is there any experiential evidence that I can find in my own experience? No, right? So then, the thought may come to me, yes, that's because I'm not that smart, and other people, college professors, researchers, may know better. Do you really think that's the case? No. Because it would imply that they have access to some knowledge about you that you don't have access to. In fact, they have much less access to you than you. Right? So, in other words, you are the only authority that can make the determination, I, consciousness, the perceiver of the feelings, am I limited or not? You're the only one who can tell. Nobody else. And if upon closer scrutiny, you come to the conclusion, well, I can't tell. I can't tell. It means nobody can. And you can ask yourself the question, will I at some point be able to tell based on my phenomenal experience, meaning based on perceptions? And the answer is no. Perceptions cannot tell me anything about me. If perceptions, and by perceptions I mean thoughts, sounds, feelings, phenomenal experiencing, if you will, there is no phenomenal experience can tell me anything about me, the experiencer of this experience. And therefore, I cannot answer the question, am I limited, based on phenomenal experience. Therefore, when I believe to be limited, it's without any valid supporting evidence. It's a gratuitous belief. It's a belief I have inherited from the culture I live in. It's a belief I have inherited from my parents, from my teachers, from everybody around me. Doesn't make it right. There was a time everybody believed the earth was flat. Because everybody around them, they were born, and at least they had some apparent evidence. They looked around themselves and said, yeah, it's more or less flat, right? At least they had some visual evidence. They look at the lake, the surface of the lake was flat. But here we don't even, if we take a closer look, we don't even have this kind of seeming evidence. What we perceive doesn't give us any information about consciousness, the perceiver. Very important to see that clearly. So we believe consciousness to be limited because it feels safe. We have inherited that from our parents. Feels safe. Now the question is, does it work for us? And what does it mean, does it work for us? It means, does it work for us in terms of happiness? Did it work for my parents in terms of happiness? And to answer this question, we can take a look at these moments when some event, some triggers misery in us, or some thought triggers misery in us. And you will see that the reason why a thought or an event triggers misery in us is only because at that moment we believe to be a separate consciousness, a separate entity. That if this belief weren't there, misery would not be triggered by the event or the thought. So then, it becomes clear then that this belief, which is purely gratuitous, to be a separate consciousness or limited consciousness, because there is no supporting evidence for it, is detrimental to our happiness. That's a proven thing. That's something we can. And then the question that remains open is, what if consciousness was not limited? What if? Then all the rationale for being depressed and miserable would go away. How can I find out? By conducting experiments. Because as long as I've never questioned this belief to be a separate consciousness, a limited consciousness, I've only perpetuated it. There are many situations in which my thoughts, my feelings, my perceptions, my decisions, my deeds would have been different if consciousness wasn't limited. But in the past, I always acted based on the limited assumption. So here is the experiment. From time to time, when you have the option, take the unlimited path. Act, decide, behave, feel, think, believe along the new perspective. And see what the outcome of this change is going to be. You see? In order to get the answer, we need to conduct experiments. And the experiment is to change, to shift the way we act, think, interact with others, feel, perceive. In the beginning, it will seem to us that only on rare occasions do we have the opportunity to conduct such experiments. But if we take these opportunities, we'll discover that in fact that was not true. That every moment is in fact an opportunity. We may start with the realm of decisions we make. But then we understand that it goes much deeper. It is about how we think, how we feel, how we perceive. And since at every moment we feel, think, or perceive, the opportunity is there at every moment to travel on the impersonal path. So that's how, and eventually our life becomes a constant experiment, if you will, and a constant and we are then a constant recipient of the outcome of the experiments we are conducting. That's the life in wisdom. That's a description. It's not about waiting forever for this big enlightenment. That's a misconception. Because that is something in the future, it's business as usual, putting your happiness hostage of time. You have to take your spiritual journey in your own hands, which is right here, right now, and it's always right here, right now, at every moment. You see? And it's open. Enlightenment is completely open. The door is never closed. It's not. It's 24. The store is open 24/7.